You might feel like every single time you've tried something, you've told friends and family, and your friends and family have dissuaded you and prevented your success. They've literally ruined things for you time and again. You might be blaming them for your lack of success in your projects. You wanted to start a business, they stepped in and it was all their fault. You wanted to learn a new skill, they stepped in, it was all their fault. You wanted a YouTube channel, they said no, you shouldn't do this. They prevented you from being successful. And by the end of this video, you're going to know how to handle that. But by the end of this video, you're going to see why the problem wasn't on your friends and family. It was on you the entire time. But let's kind of unpack what's really going on here and explain to you why your friends and family are acting this way when you have big ideas, hopes, and dreams, so you can better understand it. My name is Steven, and hopefully by the end of this video, you'll be 1% smarter and 1% better. So, as a person, me, who has been a serial entrepreneur, trying to do air quotes holding a mic, I have started and stopped about 1,000,000 projects in my life. And each time I did it, I would announce it to my friends and family. I would tell them what I'm doing, and I would tell them that I'm going to be doing this new thing, and it's going to be these payoffs. And time and again, I'd have reasons, and people would give me reasons, that it wouldn't work. And this has been a toxic relationship with the people that I expected to get the most amount of help from. I've blamed them for years until I learned what's really going on. So we're going to look at a few things. And the first thing we look at is the crabs in the bucket mentality. Now, crabs, right? Everybody knows what crabs are. You may not eat seafood, and you may never have bought live crabs before. You might not have ever been to a wet market where you can take a pair of tongs and pick up the crabs and try to put one in a bag and take it up and they sell it to you. But if you ever have that experience, what you'll find is that when you try to take a live crab away from its group, the other crabs try to pull it back. And if one crab tries to climb out of the bucket by itself, the other crabs try to pull them back. And it's not that crabs are, intellectually all there. They have a tiny little brain. But crabs know that there's power in numbers. And if there's power in numbers, they want to keep the group together. And if they keep the group together, they have a better chance of survival. So the first thing to know about your friends and family is that they're crabs. And that's okay. They're only doing what they think is best for the socioeconomic class and the group that they have with you, which they enjoy and they like. And if anything, your friends and family are not necessarily concerned that you're going to become rich because of what it'll do for you. They're more concerned that if you become rich, you'll no longer be with them. Think about it this way, right? If you are in a group of people in the average household making 70 grand a year, which is about average for most parts of the United States of America, and you all of a sudden become a crypto millionaire, or you start trading Forex, or you get a YouTube channel that blows up, and now you're making 20 grand a month on AdSense and sponsorships. You've now moved up into a different kind of economic class and eventually a new friend group. And you will lose that connection to your friends, and it will inevitably happen. This is what happens. I've experienced it before. I'm experiencing it right now on one of my YouTube channels. I have some success on a YouTube channel, and there's people that won't even talk to me anymore. They were my biggest advocates. A lot of them were creatives just like me, and we were all just a bunch of struggling, scrappy fighters on YouTube until my channel broke a certain threshold, and now they won't talk to me anymore. And so they're worried about you breaking up the homeostasis of the group. They're concerned with you leaving the group. So they're going to tell you all the reasons why what you're doing will probably fail. And it's not that they're doing it on purpose. It's just that they're thinking more about what happens if you're no longer part of them and their group and their lives. And this should be taken kind of as a compliment. But it's not necessarily good. It's just a thing. It's a compliment. The other thing is they might be what's called projecting on you. And if you don't know projection is where you take your thing that's in your head, that's in your heart, and you put that on another person. For example, I day trade. Okay, I trade futures. It's one of the hardest skills in the world to master, but given enough time, like William Shakespeare, I believe it was him, or maybe not him once, somebody in the past, one of those old dead English guys once said, an infinite amount of monkeys on an infinite amount of typewriters will eventually produce Shakespeare. It's just an inevitability. But when I told people that I was trading the markets, all I got were people telling me that it was gambling, it was stupid, you will lose money, you will go bankrupt. Source, trust me, bro. And that right there is a form of projection. So that's the second thing. Projection. People are projecting their feelings and their fears onto you to try to keep you safe. Now, it could be that these people in the past tried the thing that you're trying, and they failed at it, and they don't want you to feel that failure. They don't want you to suffer that feeling of loss that they had. That could be very well it. And if that's the case, then you have to understand that, again, they're trying to protect you from feeling something that they felt in the past. And it's a psychological, subconscious pattern that they're running. They want to protect their friend, their family member, that person from some kind of harm or damage that they think is going to happen to them. So it's not in malice, again, in this case, it's just projection. But at the end of the day, right, it doesn't matter the reasons that they're telling you that this won't work or that won't work. What matters at the end of the day is how you manage it and how you even get to this point. I recommend to fix all this, you stop telling your friends and family unless you have an incredibly close relationship with them and you know the person you're talking to first about your hopes, dreams, aspirations, and projects. Because if you understand where that person is coming from, if you understand the kind of person that they are, you'll know up front whether or not they're going to be the kind of person that will support you or who will kind of push you away from the idea. If you are kind of looking for confirmation from people too much, you might be looking for confirmation and reasons why it won't work out. You've probably had this experience before, possibly while you were looking into the new thing you're taking on in life. For example, maybe you see a course online and it's something that you're interested in. You're interested in this thing and you decide to go look up the course maker and see if it's legitimate or not. So you start searching the internet and you start searching for terms like XYZ, and then you go XYZ review. And then you start questioning yourself and asking yourself if it's a scam. So you look for the term XYZ scam. There it is. It's a scam, confirmation bias. I'm not going to do this thing. And you prevent yourself from doing the thing. Now, if you reach out to people that you think in your life are going to be like, yeah, man, that's a scam, you're just looking for confirmation bias for a reason not to do the thing to get to the goal that you always had. So be careful who you ask on this and ask yourself a question. Why am I even reaching out to this person? Why am I telling them this? Is this something that's going to get me my confirmation bias that it's not going to work? Is this a negative person? Is this a positive person? Because you have to surround yourself with people who are yes men at first if you're going to be successful at anything. That's not always a good idea, but especially when you have a goal and you're determined to hit it, because you don't want to have anybody knock you down along the way, right? So always know the person you're going to be talking to and know what their kind of mindset is. And the other thing is, don't tell anybody. I know it sounds crazy not to tell anybody, but have secret projects, have side projects, have 5 of them at a time. Heck, have 10 of them at a time. I mean, have little things that you do until you crack the code. And when you crack the code and you show up in a better car one day, and people go, wow, that's a nice car. What happened? You can tell them what happened. You can be like, well, I started doing this thing. I get on the markets in the morning. I day trade, whatever. Or I started making YouTube videos on how to do woodworking in my garage or cooking. I know it sounds ridiculous, right? But it doesn't matter at that point, because at that point, you're now successful. And they can't say a dang thing to you. They can't tell you that it's not going to, that's not going to work out. And they'll never admit, I tried that once. They'll never say that, because nobody wants to admit that they're a failure. But If you just show up with success, they can't shoot you down. They can't be crabs. They can't pull you into the bucket. So those are the two ways. And you got to take ownership and accountability for how you run your life. You have to. It's only when you do that where you're going to turn the key onto success and show up successful. And people are going to go, wow, okay, I guess I can't say anything negative to him right now. And that's the best feeling in the world, right? Just to share and celebrate your wins instead of run to others for confirmation about what you're doing. So that's my video. And if you're just browsing through and you're 1% smarter, click on the button, subscribe, do a video every couple of days as I gather my thoughts so I can clear my mind out of things that I think of. And yeah, have a good one out there, everybody. Thanks for watching. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.